those children. We don't want to fight over $10,000 when it's going to cost us $40,000 to do that. I mean, it's just crazy. I have a joke in my book that I wrote where the client says to the attorney, I don't want to settle, and the attorney says to him, well, whose college education do you want to pay for, your kids or mine?
Ooh.
So when it comes down to it, if we're spending money fighting and giving it to an attorney and it's not going into our little, fund money that we've earned, what is that saying? I have countless people who've told me it costs between, 60 to 200. One was just $600,000 for a divorce because of fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And no matter how much you give, they still want more, or he won't give me enough, or, it's easier to earn the money at that point. It's easier just get yourself a better job. Put the energy into writing a book and make money.
I laugh when you say that because
invent a widget.
My very best friend went through a divorce. She has 2 children, and the husband had a business of his own, so he could hide his money. And every year he would take her back to court to reduce the child payment, child support.
It was a game.
And I mean, these were his children, and he had adequate funds to do this correctly. And so she worked in a private school. Private schools pay, she's a teacher, pay very poorly. So I just looked at her one day and I said, Sheila, go and get a real job in a public school. I said, you'll make 4 times the money.
And you don't have to fight.
Literally. And then you can just tell him
right.
to do whatever he wants to do and take care of your children.
My story is similar. I did not want to fight, and I put the energy, rather than go into a courtroom, into my own personal career. And I set my intention, and I said, you know what? This is not about not getting money from somewhere else. It's about bringing it in for myself. And in fact, I talk about it in my book. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and that set me straight. And I said, you know what? I don't need someone else, really. I don't, to get this and do this. And I think more women need to feel empowered. Truthfully, I write this book. I am not even a college graduate. I went to Catherine Gibbs Secretarial School.
For you.
And I'm self-taught for many, many years. I think I've read more about energy than even people know exists, and understand, the power we have to get what we want and do what we want. And we don't need to have someone else's permission or someone else's anything to get there.
I think that's part of the problem with divorce, because women do not have many of the women do not have the earning power that men do, and they sometimes, especially back when I divorced, would become the housewife and didn't have a job, and that becomes a problem because you need money. Now you're trying to support 2 households, and in many cases it's impossible. Some men become homeless.
Well, the shame of it is that we know there's a 50% divorce rate. So if you're getting married and you're not having a career and you're staying home with the children, then you have to know that there's a 50% chance that you may be on your own in a number of years. So if you're not continuing your education at home or doing something part-time or doing anything on the internet, there's always something we can do. Even if you were to get a part-time job and paid someone to help you do the housework. I know that we want to stay home and we want to be more like the Donna Reed show, but it is, you cannot be living in this world.
It's unrealistic. Without
understanding you don't have 100% control over the person that you're with. And I don't believe in the earning potential. I believe that we all have as much earning potential as a man. I know I've made more money than a lot of men that I know.
Oh, no,
I've made less.
That is not what I'm saying.
No, but
in
you're...
general...
yes, but so we have to change. We have to change our minds about that.
We do. When I taught, I would say to my female students, I would say, so what are you going to do when you graduate? I'm going to marry a rich man.
Right.
And where are you going to find the rich man? And of course, it would always be in the next town over. But I said, well, what if you get divorced? And they said, oh, I'm going to get married and it's going to be fine and everything. And I would say, but what if he dies? And they would start to think, and that's what I wanted. I just wanted them to think, and I think that's probably what you want to do.
I say it all the time to women who say that. I laugh, and I say, you know what? By the time you figure out how to land one, you might as well have made the money yourself.
That's very good advice.
I can teach you how if you'd like to know. And it's really not even just about divorce, too. I mean, my mother was a widow at 51. Okay, and my dad wasn't prepared. you know, he didn't leave a big insurance policy, and she had a lot of issues going forward, and so she needed to understand how to manage that money, and she really didn't know how. So as women, we need to be a little bit of everything. We can't really rely on men. It's not really fair to them either.
That's right. That's true.
You know, like we want them to be able to do the housework and do the laundry, and yet we're expecting that no matter what happens, we're going to be taken care of. I like to joke too when men like this, because the sentence comes down from the judge, and they're usually paying an enormous amount of money. I have somebody right now who's paying 75% of his pay to his wife and ex-wife and children, because he lost his regular job in this recession, and then now he's making half the money, and the courts won't adjust for whatever reason. They won't adjust. But what's really crazy is that the men have to pay X amount of dollars, maintenance and everything else, and so the woman doesn't lose out on what she had. But I wonder if the judge would have said to them, and in return, the woman has to still do his laundry and still cook for him for the next 2 years. I wonder how that would
like King Solomon.
Play out. So there is a little bit of a lopsided, you know, situation on occasion. Men do get the brunt. It is difficult, but
that's very good advice. What is the most important thing you want to say about your book?
Probably that it is about love, and it is about taking responsibility, but once we take responsibility, we begin to be able to take control, and we can create change. And so we shouldn't be afraid of the idea that we need to take responsibility for what we brought in. It's not about blame. It's just about power and empowering ourselves.
Now, one other thing that I need to ask you is, what is your best tip for writers about getting their book out there? Not written, but get it out there.
Getting it out there?
Yeah.
Be your best advocate. Love what you are about, and just decide that it doesn't have to be about getting into a bookstore. There's many, many different outlets that you can use it for.
Okay. So, Donna,
thank you very much.
This was great. This was really great, and I really hope you're successful with this, because there's such a need for it. I mean, in my own life, I had it, and yes.
We have to do it for the sake of the kids.
You know what I really